last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway, we saw a first-time winner in the NASA Rallycross Challenge in Adam Alderton, and we wonder, will that trend of parity continue, or will we see double defending champion Luke Kraus extend his championship lead? The Lucas Oil Raceway in Claremont, Indiana has been the site of many chaotic races throughout NASA history. Just ask Victor Vallee, who's down in the production truck at the moment, and we fully expect another one here today. With Victor Vallee in the production truck and Philip Kraus, who's supposed to be alongside me in the commentary queue, but I think he got lost. I'm your host, Josh Mertz, as we thank you for joining us here on the Automotive Sports Network, home of NASA Rallycross. Our broadcast this evening is presented by Fisher Disc Golf. Make sure to use the code RALLY at checkout, RALLY, for 15% off of your order, and Bolt Jet Charters. As I'm not going to bring you in just yet, Victor. I know you have stuff to do, but we just talked about like 2 minutes ago how this race was not going to be under the lights, and it is. So our, I guess you could say, annual in a season term night race in Indianapolis, certainly going to be a great event. The 0.79 miles utilizes turns 3 and 4 and kind of turn 1 of the oval, uses the pit lane entry, and the front straightaway. 0.79 miles, essentially 50-50 asphalt versus dirt, and not a real good Joker delta. It is 0.2 seconds, so strategy is certainly going to matter, but not that much. As Claremont, Indiana, 12 miles from the city center of Indianapolis, you take I-70 west out of the city, you run into Claremont, Brownsburg. It's all kind of the same thing off of I-65 and I-70. As we will take a look at our schedule, I don't think we have a graphic for it, but
we do not.
The final 4 races of the championship, this is round 6, so 7 through 10. We do have the Endurance Cup for the next 2 races after a week off. So Crandon up in Wisconsin, Wild West in Nevada. That'll be the Endurance Cup, the off-road truck tracks, no joker. Those races, always a thriller. Then we go back east to the Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Daytona International Speedway to cap off season 25 of the NASA Rallycross Challenge. We're going to go through the point standings as we have just a little bit of time in the interim in qualifying. The Drivers' Championship, Luke Kraus 15 points ahead of Jacob Rafos. Rafos not here last week. Adam Alderton, who won last week, not here this week. And Sabian Ragster in 4th. So Kraus is 130, Rafos 115, Alderton 97, Ragster 90, Larill 87. Not to diminish the overall Drivers' Championship, but the big talking point coming into this evening is a 5-way tie. Not really, but essentially. I'll get to that in a minute. A 5-way tie for the Sportsman Cup points lead. You're asking me, Josh, how the hell is that possible? Well, it has been a topsy-turvy championship in the Sportsman Cup this season. Kyle Pellegrini, 100 points. He's leading the championship. Cody Crosgrove, 99 points. Justin Robichaux, 99 points. Tyler Campbell, 98. Victor Aldrich, 97. We do not have Cody Crosgrove tonight. There was a family emergency for him. We wish him all the best and hope that everything is getting better for him. The Canadian, certainly one of the fastest drivers. Fastest growing, I should say. He went from AM to pro after winning the championship in the sports cars, and he has certainly shown pace in the Rallycross Challenge as well. The Constructors' Championship, Fiercely Forward has a 13-point lead over the TWR Subi squad. That championship has been all over the place as well because Fiercely Forward missed the first round in Brands Hatch. TWR Subi squad, James Watson has exploded his team from just him to literally 10 cars, or something like that. So, giving Ray Kingsbury a run for his money with the LLM squad. We're not missing anything in the Manufacturers' Championship. Subaru has had a clean sweep of race wins over Volkswagen and Ford. So, check my notes. We'll take a look at the standings. Track facts, Victor Vallee and I hate each other on this track, as we just actually studied the previous race back on the NR 2003 days, as we take a look at, I think that was Josh Clog flipping. We're going to bring in Victor Vallee, as we watched that race before we went live, and obviously a different sim, and different track essentially. but still the heritage of this track, with it being the Global Rallycross layout from 2017. We were here at this racetrack, and then now NR 2003, certainly a great layout.
Yeah, absolutely, and surprise, surprise, we were just talking about it, and I know you mentioned it earlier, that it is indeed a night race here. I don't think anybody was really expecting this. Maybe the drivers were, and maybe, of course, the admins who set this up. But I know you and I were not expecting this to be a night race, and you said you were outvoted, so I don't know what vote they had, but I guess they changed their mind on it, so that's great to see.
As we always at least try to have one night race every single season, whether it's here in Indianapolis or at the Iowa Speedway over in Newton, Iowa. That track should be returning for next season, I do believe. Keep an eye out on the Discord. The weather, very calm evening in the sim. 67 degrees, partly cloudy, 69-degree track temp, not a lot of wind. So it's going to be fairly consistent for these guys, and that was a big thing that affected me when I raced on iRacing, is realistically, I couldn't adapt to the changing track and the changing weather. And these guys certainly, obviously, much better than me. As we finish up qualifying here, Victor, Luke Kraus, double defending champion, points leader with the red number plate, 3/10 up on Bodie Cryer. And interesting that Tyler Campbell in the 37, we talked about him in the Open, one of the Sportsman cars. He, in 4th place in the Sportsman Cup, but 10 places up on Kyle Pellegrini.
Yeah, and he was going into, I believe, 2 weeks ago, leading the point standings in Charlotte. So going on to now, I mean, I think he's kind of still the favorite for the championship if he can get through and make it into each round like he has all season long.
Really quickly, our heat races. 6 laps, Joker wants the top 2 will transfer through to the feature. The remaining drivers will be split into 2 semifinal races, 8 laps, 2 Jokers, top 3 transfer. That'll give us 12 cars, 10 laps, 2 Jokers around the Lucas Oil Raceway. As we take a look at the grid for heat number 1, Luke Kraus, Francois Martel, Justin Robichaux, Ray Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury, those 2 were fast in practice. Marwan Moftah, Russell Peterson, Marcos Palacio, Victor Aldrich, and Jacob Rafos. Looks like Rafos did not get a lap done in qualifying, and that's going to hurt the Norwegian. He's a few points down, obviously, but we know he's fast. We'll just have to wait and see. As a long evening of racing about to begin here in Indianapolis, we begin heat number 1. Luke Kraus on pole position, green flag. Martel gets a great jump in the first phase, but he gets nudged by Kraus, sliding through turns 3 and 4 of the oval. He saves it. Onto the front straightaway, Robichaux takes the lead as he was high, wide, and handsome on the outside. And we would begin the first lap. No Joker restriction here. It's an even split between the cars. Justin Robichaux leads. Martel and Rafos beating and banging. Rafos went from 10th to 3rd in 1 corner.
Yeah, the
Aldrich.
Yeah, the 2 championship protagonists right there, 2nd and 3rd. They did not take their Joker, and this is exactly what we wanted to see tonight here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Excuse me, actually, it's Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park now.
As the track name always changing here in Lucas Oil, Justin Robichaux leads us in the 93. The Canadian certainly loving this with all the clean air and not having to worry about any cars in front of him. Rafos to the inside of Kraus, into turn number 1. Championship protagonists side by side, nearly making contact, and Rafos is going to dispatch him. Here comes Kraus to the inside through turn 2. Turn 3, this is where we came together in that race many seasons ago. No contact between them, though, and Rafos to 2nd spot.
And that's why they're the professionals. And you can see Rafos has a red banner on his car. That is not such for him anymore. He is not the points leader after missing last week at Charlotte.
As Trading Paint's not playing nice with us, Luke Kraus is our points leader. As the graphic states, we might have to refresh that after the heat race. If you're Justin Robichaux, and I'm going to relate Robichaux to you and me to Rafos back in the day, you have a faster guy in front of you. You know this. Robichaux cracks maybe under pressure.
Absolutely a crack under pressure there for Robichaux. Just trying to get in a little bit deeper, trying to hit his marks and trying to get a little bit more out. Unfortunately, just overdid it just a little bit there.
Rafos has gone from last to first, and that's the first time that's happened in quite some time in a heat race, but he snuck his way through the calamity. Robichaux now on the back foot trying to keep up, but we'll have to wait and see. if he can take the fight, or if Kraus can take the fight, I should say, as we ride on board Robichaux in car number 93 in the Volkswagen. Kraus thought about jokering there, but as soon as Robichaux took it, he changed his mind. Rafos hits the wall. Robichaux on his side.
Almost
and
up
this
and
might
over
be
there.
Crucial. Rafos, I don't know if we can get a replay of that, Vic, but he hit the wall. Contact with Robichaux and Martel. Don't worry about the replay now. Side by side over the jump. But Rafos snagged the wall on the right-hand side of that car. I don't know if there's going to be any damage. We'll just have to see.
Now, that car looks pretty fine to me, honestly, and I've seen cars with a lot more damage leading these races.
We come to 2 laps to go in heat number 1. Rafos ahead of Kraus. 41.320 to a 41.6. Granted, like we mentioned in the opener, the Joker really doesn't matter, but we can't really get a full comparison of the lap times as Kraus has not jokered yet. But Rafos, as of the last lap, was ahead by 1.7 seconds. We'll have to see if Luke Kraus can close this gap. Francois Martel has snuck into the 3rd position, and still a great drive for Justin Robichaux. We saw him in Knockhill. I don't want to say bowl people out of the way, but for lack of a word, he did. He forced his way through, won the semifinal, I believe, and got the better grid spot. Or, sorry, he finished 3rd in the heat race, I should say. And that gave him a better grid spot, and he ended up transferring from that. Martel runs wide in car number 12. Kraus ran a 41.1 that was on pace with Rafos. I don't think it's going to happen here, as Rafos still has half a lap. And we saw on NR 2003 back in the day, anything can happen. Chris Wetz got flipped from the front bumper of me and still ended up winning the heat race that he was in.
Yeah, and we've seen down at the hairpin, that is an incredibly tricky corner to get right, as we see Martel and Robichaux going side by side through there. Into the wall goes Martel. Robichaux kind of knocking him into the wall.
Robichaux and Kraus, Rafos and Kraus transfer. Checkered flag. Words are hard. Martel beats Robichaux. I was more focused on them, hoping that Robichaux would be able to get that 3rd spot. Got the names mixed up. I do apologize there, but great battle. Great run for Robichaux, too. As coming home in the 5th spot is Aldrich, Kingsbury, Palacio, Peterson, Moftar. It looks like Matt Kingsbury got crashed on the few opening laps here.
Yeah, most likely got into a little bit of contact on the start, unfortunately, for Kingsbury.
As remember, our broadcast brought to you by Fisher Disc Golf. Use code RALLY at checkout and get 15% off of your order along with Bolt Jet Charters, as we thank Ian Fisher for creating that support for us. Bodie Cryer, Larill, Forster, Schofield, Mowry, Jensen, Lind, Wetz, Watson, McKenna are grid for heat number 2. This is more like the mid-pack guys. Not saying they're slow, but there's no definite winner here. So this is going to be an interesting one. Green flag. Larill blitzes Cryer off the start of the first phase, but in the second phase, looked like Cryer stuck with it. Jensen sideways in the Ford in the back of the shot. He's out of the equation as we begin heat number 2. Who will joker? Looks like Schofield does in car 27. He is the only one to joker. Here comes Chris Wetz on the outside, sandwiched with Mowry and Lind, and Wetz gets turned on the start. We have a parking lot in turn 1.
Oh, man. Unfortunate for Chris Wetz.
Schofield, really quick.
Oh, Larill has a slowdown.
Larill had a slowdown. He was leading on the start. And then one car, it was Schofield. He's still trying to get turned around. But now it's Bodie Cryer and Ben Forster. Larill served the slowdown. McKenna the inside. He cuts the curve. He's probably going to get a slowdown for that one.
And he does. He's going to go ahead and yield right here. Here comes his sister team car right there of Jensen, who actually was in the grass on the start. And it looks like McKenna has to take another slowdown as he takes to the Joker now.
Larill really laid on the brakes in the 213, fighting against the 23 of Ben Forster. But Team Watson Racing, I said it in the opener, they are fighting fiercely forward for this championship. James Watson has had incredible signings in the Rallycross Challenge, Bodie Cryer and Ben Forster. 1-2 for Team Watson Racing. It's great to see for them. And Robbie Larill in the 213 sitting in 3rd. So these 3 are going to have a great show as we begin lap number 3 in just a minute.
Yeah, Bodie Cryer, formerly with the, I believe, the DJF Auto team last year. That team withdrew from NASCAR competition after last season, I believe. and Pryor decided to go with the Team Watson Racing entry this year. That was a huge signing for that team.
And Loril closing in on Forster. The DGRX crew, Jason Hook, Diane Feldman, all the Australians. I think it was a time issue, obviously with Australia being at a different time of day. Loril to the inside of Forster, nudges him in the 23. Loril tries to get the drive off the corner. They're going to be side by side. But that's the reason why the DGRX guys and girls withdrew. Forster undercuts the 213. Side by side, Willie Joker, yes.
Here comes the Joker
Out
exit.
Nearly
Ooh.
contact between them.
Oh, Loril gets loose.
The handbrake.
And so this is actually played into Forster's hands here. Advantage Forster as we gets towards 2 to go here.
As Justin Robichaud says in chat, it was the most dramatic near flip I've ever seen. Felt like it lasted an eternity. I can tell you that happens all the time.
Maybe to
Whenever
you,
you're in a
maybe not
compromising
him.
position like that. I didn't catch what you said until
I said maybe
until it recognized
maybe
in my
you.
head.
Yes,
Okay?
yes,
Thanks,
absolutely.
yes, this is why I retired. The real Joker's on lap number 5. Will Forster be able to take the fight? He's going to have a wider line into the corner to the inside, side by side, into turn 2. Forster yields. Remember, this is for a transfer spot. I don't know if I was in his position if I would have yielded like that, but we'll have to take a look at lap times to see if he can catch up.
Lots of respect between the two Subaru drivers here as they battle for this transfer spot. I don't think Forster wants to get into the final like that.
We're going to take the white flag. Bodie Cryer and Robbie Loril sitting in the transfer spots, and Ben Forster has 1 lap to try and make it happen, but he has lost a lot of ground from Robbie Loril. Jokering is Cryer. I didn't realize he had a joker. I don't pay attention. Good on me. Into turn number 1. Let's see what'll happen here. Looks like Forster's deeper on the brakes than Loril. Loril cuts the corner.
Oh, that might be a slowdown.
He's very
Yes,
aggressive.
that is a slowdown.
There's a slowdown. That's one thing that when we transition to iRacing that we let the sim handle is you self-police yourself. If you get the slowdowns, it's your fault. Will Loril send it?
Almost did, but couldn't get there in time. I think this is Forster's race to lose for the transfer position.
Cryer wins heat 2. Forster comes home in 2nd spot, and Robbie Loril with a slowdown throws it away. Damian Jensen, Carson McKenna, Ryan Mowry, Chris Wetz, Matthew Lind, David Schofield, and then James Watson. Looks like Watson missed the start in car 39.
Give a call to Damian Jensen, P4. I believe this is his first start in NASA competition.
And especially after ending up in the grass.
Yes. On the start, in the grass in Oval 3 and 4. Comes back for a P4 finish. Great way to start off his NASA career.
As heat number 3 grid, as we have to wait for the sim to transition it over, but we have another 10 cars. And the return of a very famous number in this championship's history, and we hope to see it succeed here in just a couple minutes. Grid for Heat 3, Tyler Campbell, Josh Klogg, Magnus Okenhaug, Kyle Pellegrini, Brandon Lambert, Matt Powers, Christian Ost, Alex Betty, Ian Fisher, Brock Quinn. This Heat number 3. This is going to be seeds 5 and 6 as we get ready in Indianapolis. Lambert, great start in the 46 off the line. Klogg beats Campbell. 3 wide, Pellegrini, Powers, and Okenhaug. Okenhaug, high, wide, and handsome on the outside. Can he make the spot? Campbell, comes up into Okenhaug. Lambert's got a huge run. He doesn't send it to the outside.
Oh, here comes Lambert now.
This could be calamity. Into the first
contact.
turn. Campbell, Lambert, all together, still not crashing. As bad as I expected.
Oh, that's going to be a slowdown for Klogg.
Pellegrini cuts the curve. Klogg looks like he cut the curve as well. And Brandon Lambert to the race lead. Josh Klogg, Campbell, Okenhaug, Powers, Ost, Pellegrini, Quinn, Fisher, Abedi. And what?
Oh, Campbell,
contact,
3
Campbell.
wide.
3 wide into the hairpin, and Okenhaug gets turned, so does Campbell. As I was just about to ask, what is going on with Brandon Lambert, the inaugural champion 10 years ago, leads at the end of the first lap of
He's
heat
got
number 3.
his mojo back. Brandon Lambert back in the saddle, back in contention for wins in heats now. I believe he won his heat at Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. Or he came very close to it. Not only that, but I know he did get a win earlier in the season in a heat, I believe, at Hell.
Let's keep this in mind. Brandon Lambert has won 5 times in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Yes, it's only a heat race, Josh. Whatever, get off your soapbox here. But his last win, 2014A in the Netherlands, in Valkenswaard. 8 years ago was his last victory, and I have not seen Lambert drive this fast since then.
The old guys still got it, you know what I mean? That's what we like to see out there for Brandon Lambert. As we're going to go ahead and pull the ticker back up here. I do apologize about not having that up.
As Lambert, Ogenhout, Ost, Powers, Campbell rolls it in turn 3 in front of Clog. Clog plows through him. So does Abedi.
Oh, man. And that...
One of the drivers we talked about in the Open, Victor, with the Sportsman points.
The Sportsman, the 2 protagonists, really, in the Sportsman points here, Pellegrini and Campbell. Unfortunate circumstances for both of them, getting caught up in accidents that probably really weren't their doing. Now have put them way down the order, and it's going to be an absolutely...
Pellegrini got turned by Brock Quinn, as I heard over the radio. Pellegrini complaining. I'm taking a look on my monitor here, and Quinn just drills the 0-4 in the hairpin.
That looked like you and me a couple years ago, maybe worse. Actually, probably about the same, honestly. So
he is fuming. He's the points leader in the Sportsman Cup.
Going to be an uphill battle as we have a battle for the lead. Speaking of battles, of course, Okenhog trying to take the fight to Lambert, but Okenhog still yet to take his Joker, so it'll probably put him back a little bit of Lambert.
What's crucial is Victor Aldrich finished 4th in his heat race. He's going to grid up pretty decent for the semifinal. With the crossroad right here, Pellegrini having issues, Campbell having issues, it might turn into Robichaud versus Aldrich in the semifinal here.
Yeah, and again, we've seen it where drivers can make it back up through the field. We saw the 10 of Rafos, I believe, 13 of Rafos make it from 10th place on the grid to a transfer position and I believe a heat win, if I'm not mistaken. So anything can and will happen in NASA competition, especially here at IRP.
As white flag for Lambert. Remember, he is technically a Sportsman driver, as Okenhout Jokers in the 26, very squirrely on the exit. Lambert won the Sportsman Cup last week. He did not race in Spain. He had some previous commitments or he wasn't feeling good. I can't remember, but it's going to put him straight to the feature, and I don't think any other Sportsman car is transferred yet. So this is crucial for them, because if they don't transfer, he's guaranteed the 30 points.
You're absolutely right, and that's going to be huge in the point standings. And I believe he's actually in the title fight as well, up there, tied with a couple other drivers for about 3rd or 4th in Sportsman points, as we see Brandon Lambert take the checker flag. And
as our inaugural champion wins heat number 3, and Okenhout will transfer. Powers comes home in 3rd. Ost, Clog, Abedi, Pellegrini, Fisher, Campbell, and Brock Quinn. As Lambert's actually 8th in points in the Sportsman Cup. 77 points, 23 down on Pellegrini. As remember, join the conversation, hashtag ASNTVUSA, hashtag NASA Rallycross throughout tonight's event. Next week we will be off for both sports car and Rallycross, but this Thursday we're going to be at Spa for the Penguin RC Simulations NASA Sports Car Challenge. We'll have Chad Irvine, Matt Kingsbury for that one. It's an endurance race. Be sure to join us. That's going to be a great one. Semifinal A, Justin Robichaud, Powers, Jensen, Kingsbury, Clog, Mowry, Palacio, Fisher, Lind, Moftop, Pellegrini, and Watson. I left my hard hat in the work truck. I wasn't expecting to wear it, even though what's hilarious is I really probably should. This race, 8 laps, 2 jokers. And what's crucial, Ray Kingsbury just fell out of the server.
Oh,
and he is in this race.
He is. So what are we going to do? Are they going to go ahead and try to postpone this? Or is it a little too late here? And is Ray going to just not be able to make it to the final here?
The weird thing is Matt's still in the server, and obviously they're brothers. They're in the same house. The race is going to go as planned. No Ray Kingsbury.
No Matt Powers either. Green
flag. Off the line, Robichaud gets blitzed by the 227. Jensen on the outside, one car around in the back.
That's
It was
Lind.
Matt Lind. Beginning the first lap, Robichaux, Jensen, Powers, Powers, Jokers, Jensen in the 16 to the inside of Robichaux, shoves him wide. Powers just sneaks through, Clog gets turned, Robichaux turns Moftov.
Oh, it's a parking lot in the grass. Oh my goodness.
I hate to pin blame on a broadcast because that's not really right for me to do, but Jensen pushed it a little bit too hard there into turn 1, and I think that's what caused it.
I think that was the definite beginning of that, but everybody was involved in that at one point or another, unfortunately. And Ryan Mallory makes his way into third, avoids most of that chaos. Looks like he might have a slowdown or something, had to give up some time. Robichaux now up to third as he's going to go to the Joker.
So Jensen, Clog, Robichaux, Palacio, Mallory, Pellegrini, Fisher, Watson, Moftov, Powers. That's our running group. So Clog, once again, survives Calamity on a start of a semifinal and sits into a transfer spot. Robichaux still benefiting here, and he sits in the 3rd position. Our points leader in Sportsman, Kyle Pellegrini, down in 6th.
Yeah, and Pellegrini was caught up in the big one there in the dirt section as they made the left-hander off of Oval 1.
Mallory sneaks to the inside of Palacio. Palacio hit the wall in the entrance to the hairpin.
And behind both of these guys is Pellegrini, who's going to take his 2nd Joker here, I do believe.
So strategy already complete. Kyle Pellegrini in car number 04.
And Palacio's also completed his strategy so far. So those two and James Watson back there in 9th place, the only guys who have completed it so far, I do believe.
The only enticing factor to taking your Joker, realistically at all, at this track, because there's no real delta, is just guaranteeing yourself that you're going to have that inside line into the first corner. I remember that race that we ran, you decided to Nico Rosberg me. You claimed you locked up. I don't believe that. You Nico Rosberg 2015 Austria, missed the corner, but you have that line when you exit the Joker. You can do that. It's completely dirty to do, but you have that line. Palacio battling with Mallory. This is a great battle for 4th. Unfortunately, it means nothing for a transfer. Pellegrini caught between these two.
Yeah, this is going to be huge when it comes to the sportsman points as well, as this is a battle for what could end up being 3rd or 4th in sportsman. Oh, in contact between the two.
Pellegrini got by Mallory, and he's forcing his way through on Palacio.
Trying everything to get by him. And Damian Jensen, your leader, still has yet to take his Jokers. He actually just took one, so on lap 4. But his Clog's all over him now.
We just took, take cross flags that last lap. And Damian Jensen, a Dane in his first start here in NASA Rallycross, certainly showing that he's good at what he does. Josh Clog sits in 2nd, Robichaux in 3rd, but if they keep battling, it's going to open the gap up, or close the gap, and open the door for Palacio to take the fight. Yeah,
Palacio and Pellegrini, because they're all on top of each other, and Mallory's right there as well.
So if we take a look at our grid so far, I don't believe, so Lambert is an AM driver, and I think Ben Forster is.
Yes.
So this could potentially be as close to the inside of Jensen.
Jensen ran it wide.
Would Robichaux return the favor? I don't think he will. Canadians are really nice, unless you're Philip Kraus.
I mean, even he's pretty nice sometimes, too.
I guess that's true. Unless you're me and you crash into him.
Yeah, I mean, he will call people numbskulls sometimes, but that's alright.
As Josh Clog is going to take 2 laps to go. Jensen sits in 2nd. If I was Robichaux, I wouldn't exactly force my way through, but I would make it a big deal to get by him. You want that 3rd spot cushion to guarantee a spot into the
Not quite.
Wow. Very close on corner exit.
And Jensen yet to take his... Actually, they both took their Joker right there on lap 6. So, top 5 strategy complete, top 6 strategy complete. And make that top 7 with the 81 of Fisher right there with his strategy complete. And I think everybody, except for the bottom 3 drivers, have taken their Jokers.
Jensen was half a second, 8/10 slower than Robichaux that last lap. It was granted, given the fact that he locked up Robichaux to the inside. No contact between them on corner exit. Now they make contact.
Oh,
Jensen tries to side draft in the corner. Off the corner. White flag for clog. Robichaux to second spot.
Oh, and here comes Palacio. He's looking. He smells blood back there. Actually, I'm sorry. That is Ray Kingsbury. I saw a black Subaru and I thought it was Palacio. But no, that is Ray Kingsbury who's in the middle of that.
Mowry gets by. Pellegrini crashes in the Joker.
And that's going to cause a huge wreck there. I think that's Lynn getting turned around once more.
That might be all she wrote for Kyle Pellegrini's hopes of transferring. Off the final corner, Josh Clogg will join his teammate in the feature race. He claimed that car number 3 was not good luck, but it's good luck today, winning semifinal A. Robichaux bullies his way through, recovers after turn 1 to finish second, and Damian Jensen in his first start finishes third. Best of the rest is Ryan Mowry. He will come home in 13th. 15th, Palacio. 17th, Ian Fisher. 19th, Pellegrini. 21st will be Matt Powers. 23rd, Moftaw. 25th, Watson. 27th, Lind. 29th, Ray Kingsbury.
Terrible, terrible luck for Ray Kingsbury to drop out right before the race started there. And unfortunate for him. But we do have one more semifinal to go here.
It's our grid for the second semifinal. Robbie Lorille, Victor Aldrich, Christian Ost, Carson McKenna, Francois Martel, Alex Abetty, Chris Wetz, Russell Peterson, Tyler Campbell, David Schofield, Matt Kingsbury, Brock Quinn. 12 cars. And it's interesting to see Lorille in this race. Obviously, he had a slowdown on the last lap there, missed the transfer. So we'll just have to wait and see throughout this 8 laps. Hopefully we'll get Ian Fisher here in just a minute, and he'll join us for the warm-up and for the feature race.
It'd be nice to be able to step away for the feature for myself, as Phil locked himself in his hotel room from what I heard.
Green flag. Lorille, great start. It looked like Aldrich and Ost. Martel gets into Ost, crashing in turn 4. Huge crash for Christian Ost. Over in the 157, collects Russell Peterson, collects Brock Quinn. As Matt Kingsbury hits the Joker wall. Who's crashing in turn number 1? It's one of the Fords. It's Alex Abetty. Does anyone want to make turn 1?
I don't think anyone wants to win this race.
There's Victor Aldrich in second. Robbie Lorille pulling away. David Schofield in third. Campbell fourth. McKenna, Wetz, Martel. Peterson, Quinn. And Ost looks like he parks it. He is in the 157.
That car
damage
was
to
done.
that Ford.
Toast.
Unfortunately, that kind of stuff happens, and it's infuriating when it happens because you spend all this time practicing just to get taken out, but it's the nature of the beast.
It looks like Campbell had to slow down somewhere along the lines, had to let Wetz go through, as he's going to take the Joker along with Wetz. Wetz, normally taking his Jokers at the end of these races, hasn't done that all season long. A different approach for Wetz this season, and it seems to be paying off.
Chris Wetz, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Came so close so many years ago to win a championship in the NASA Rallycross Challenge, but has not.
And another slowdown for Campbell. Went from bad to worse for him, and no good, very bad semifinal so far for Tyler Campbell.
As we look at Lorille, Aldrich actually in the 98, getting chased by Schofield. Schofield's got a decent lead over Carson McKenna in the 11. And then we look back at Chris Wetz, the 19-time race winner of the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Aldrich passes Schofield in turn 1. I think
Aldrich took the Joker, defended his position. That was a brilliant use of the Joker, if I say so myself.
As there's really 2 approaches to this Joker. You can be defensive and conservative like that, the Joker like Aldrich is, or you can gain a huge amount of time, but it's so risky because it's not a completely straight path into the Joker. There is a slight left-right, and we saw Matt Kingsbury meet the wrong end of that corner. As we'll take a look at Victor Aldrich again in the 98, jokering. He's going to lose that spot off the road. And we look at Martel as well in the 12. He jokers.
So I'm telling you, I think Martel might have a shot at this if he can make up that time. one of the fastest cars on track. Even with that Joker, I believe he's already taken at least one of them. So Martel might be in the catbird seat here, 2/10 faster than Larill and Schofield.
Mertz has taken his Jokers in car number 71.
Strategy complete, and so has Martel. Martel followed him through.
This is, but it's not like a huge Joker. I know we just mentioned it. Larill Joker's in the 213. But there's really no delta. You have to make up the time purely on pace. Unless you really mess up the Joker, which has happened before.
Oh, it definitely has. We saw it earlier. Obviously, different sim, different track geometry, but we saw that earlier when we were watching the 2017B, was it?
It was you. You crashed in the Joker chasing
twice.
Chasing you.
Twice. So it has happened. It's pretty easy to do, if I'd say so myself, as Martel has gotten around wets now, looking to track down McKenna and Aldrich, trying to get into that transfer position.
Schofield crashes in the Joker in the 27. We were just talking about it.
Gonna take a replay here, see what happens to him.
Just what we were talking about.
Clip the tires on the right side there, and that spun him around. And this
push it 1 millimeter wrong, Victor, and that's what happens.
And this promotes McKenna into a transfer position here in third place, and he's trying to track down Aldrich, but don't look now. Francois Martel, I've been talking about him the entire race here, about the last half actually. He's going to be looking to get into a transfer position now.
2 laps to go for Larill. Well, let's reset our running order. Larill, Aldrich, McKenna, tentatively our transfer positions. Martel last lap was a second faster than McKenna. And then Chris Wetz is there to pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong. He's very famous at doing that. McKenna cuts the corner. That might be a slowdown in that Subaru.
That's borderline. We'll see. Yep, that is.
Position change. Martel goes to the transfer.
Now he's going to go try to track down Victor Aldrich there, try to get better grid position for the feature. Most important gridding, I think, is right here in Indianapolis, honestly.
White flag for Larill. Aldrich in the 98 sits in second. Martel will be our final seed if he can hold on the final lap here. Be sure to hang out for the next couple minutes between the feature and this race. We'll have Ian Fisher come up to the commentary cue.
Ooh, a little wide for Martel there. Don't open the door for McKenna because he will take it if he has a shot at it here.
Final corner. You're not missing anything up front. Larill and Aldrich out front. McKenna, will he send it? He's got one corner
Not close
left.
enough.
Won't get it done. Winning the second semifinals, Robbie Larill. Aldrich will finish second in transfer. Seeding 12th, car number 12, Francois Martel. 14th, McKenna. 16th, Wetz. 18th, Schofield. What could have been for car 27? 20th,
Great.
Russell Peterson. 22nd, Tyler Campbell.
Great,
24th, Brock Quinn.
Great performance by all of those guys in that top four. Top
Kingsbury,
5, actually.
I bet he comes home in 30th.
Top 5, honestly, I gotta say. Huge props to them. They did a really good job hanging in there. Chris Wetz, probably, I think that was one of his best performances of the season so far.
I'm going to step aside. We'll bring in Ian Fisher and Victor Vallee, and they'll have a nice chat, and I will see you guys in just a couple minutes.
Oh, gosh. Ian, let's say, first week in the 81, how did it go?
It wasn't too bad, you know. I think got through all the races clean, and I think that was pretty good racing from all the drivers. As you know, as tight and tough as these turns are, I think everybody did a pretty good job getting through there clean. But it's always going to be tight and technical here at Lucas Oil.
Tight and technical is the name of the game, especially. Doesn't matter if it's the oval or the Rallycross track here in Claremont, Indiana. Of course, once again, if it is going to be this technical, we're going to have to take a look at the weather. It's going to be a night race once again. Cold as can be, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 69 degrees track temp, which is very nice if I say so myself.
It is very nice, and that means these drivers are going to have a lot of grip, especially on the asphalt sections of the track, and I think we're going to have the track crew go out there and groom the track before our featured race, so they're seeing a worn-in track condition right now. I don't think that's what the drivers are going to see for the feature race, but it'll be a nice, clean track for these guys to compete on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Looks like we're going to have Ray Kingsbury go out on his tractor and groom the track, get it all ready to go for tonight's event. It's not going to be a worn down track like we see right now. It's going to be completely back to full dirt, track state 0 as they call it.
Yeah, and this is a pretty unique track here in Claremont, Indiana, 12 miles outside of the city center of Indianapolis, just under 0.8 of a mile, a 52 asphalt to dirt ratio. So one of the more asphalt heavy sections of the track. Uses a lot of this oval of IRP Raceway, Lucas Oil Raceway here in Claremont, Indiana, and a really unique joker lap as well, Victor. But really not much of a shortcut or a long cut at all, just basically slices off a little bit of the oval, and that's what these drivers have to navigate.
Yeah, so as we ride on board with Raposo here, down into oval turn 1 and track turn 1, and then this hard left here into the infield section into a left-hander. Now this is a little bit of pavement and dirt as it transferred to full dirt to the right here.
Yeah, and you want to keep it as smooth as you can coming over this dirt section, a little touch of brake to keep the car settled. And right now with the track worn in, you can drive this really aggressively like a normal street car, but once that track wears in, throttle control is going to be very key for our drivers.
Absolutely. Way out by the wall is the best way to be coming through oval turn 4 there into the line. The track has a little bit more banking at the top than the bottom, so it definitely is beneficial as we see Raposo actually miss the corner there. I don't know if he missed it on purpose, or if so, I'm thinking he probably did since he went back to the pits, but definitely easy to get that corner wrong, as we just saw there with Raposo. Whether on purpose or not, I'm not sure.
Jakob Rafoss, the world championship driver, I think he was just being courteous to our other drivers, Victor, there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've seen people get that corner very wrong, so I'm gonna say that is not an easy corner to get right, nor is this hairpin right here as we see Robichaux go through it. It is just such a difficult corner to get right.
Yeah, and there's a few different ways to navigate it as well. Early in the track state, you're going to want to throw some handbrake in there or maybe flick the car into the corner. But once it gets more worn in, you can really get in there, get in hard on the brakes, and just drive it like a normal street car, because the track gets surprisingly worn in here at Lucas Oil Stadium, as we see how difficult it is to get through that 90-degree section in the infield once you get off the oval track there, Victor.
Yeah, and we're watching like Ben Forster right here. He clips that left side curve and it's going to give him a slowdown if he does it too much. And we saw that throughout the entire night of racing so far. People just taking a little bit too much, getting a little bit too greedy, and it's going to cost them here if they're not careful.
Yeah, it's really easy to get a slowdown there, but it's a catch-22 because you want to get as much as that curve as you can to help the car rotate. That's one of the things that the drivers will do to help the car rotate, Victor, and you try to get it as much as you can, as we see Forrester again diving down in the oval turn 1 here, making that turn into the infield section. We'll watch it here. You try to cut as much as that curve as you can. That's a pretty decent job of it there, but it's so hard to get the car rotated to come back the other way as our warm-up session here goes checkered and these drivers get ready for the feature race.
And just one more mention here before we get to the feature. Your sportsman battle is going to be Lambert, Aldrich, and Robichaux.
Lambert, Aldrich, and Robichaux. That's going to be a good battle for the Sportsman Championship, alongside with the battle for just our championship series here on NASA Rallycross on ASN TV, Victor.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and shut up and bring back in the voice of NASA Rallycross, Josh Mertz.
Hello, Victor. Hello, Ian. Hello, everyone. Welcome here to round number 6 of the 2022A NASA Rallycross Challenge season, the 25th season of the championship. As we get ready here in Lucas Oil, our starting grid: Jacob Rafoso in car number 13, Bodie Cryer, Brandon Lambert, Luke Kraus, Forster, Okenhow, Clog, Larill, Robichaux, Aldrich, Jensen, Martell. Lambert's got a huge buffer for this Sportsman win over Aldrich and Robichaux, but we've seen anything can happen, and it usually does here in Nassau. Thank you to Fisher Disc Golf. Use code RALLY at checkout, 15% off your order. We get ready in Indianapolis. Hard hats, boys. Green flag in Indianapolis, off the line. Rafos gets a great jump. Looks like Cryer and Lambert didn't get as good of a run off the corner, or on the start, I should say. Cryer's got a run off the corner, but it's not going to be enough to fight for the lead. Jokering on the first lap will be Robichaux, Ogenhaug, and Martel. Turn 1, cluster into the corner! Clog, Jensen, Larill gets backed up. Clog, once again, car number 3, bad luck, but at the jump here for the first time, Kraus got nudged by Cryer. Side by side over the jump for second and third. Rafos loves this. Kraus does not love this. Contact between them in the dirt sweeper. Left wheel on the asphalt to get the run off the corner. Sorry, Ian. Final corner. Rafos leads Cryer. Kraus parks it on the apex. And Robichaux is battling Lambert, but he nudges the wall. Gets passed by Okenhaug. Where is Aldrich? Way down the order, but at the end of the first lap, it's Rafos leading.
I was going to say, that's surprising there from Bodie Cryer. Bodie Cryer usually a very clean driver, but you see him get a little bit of the bumper there to Luke Kraus. I think Bodie is a little bit frustrated, possibly. He's been a really strong competitor in a lot of series, but just really struggling this year to find the speed that he's always had, Josh. But good to see him making a good battle here up in P2 early in our race.
There's Luke Kraus in car number 1. Double defending champion, points leader. Got a little bit of damage on that Subaru for Fiercely Forward. They're leading the Constructors' Championship. And Brandon Lambert has a decent buffer over Robichaux. He is sneaking into an overall podium position here. But Rafos is gone compared to the rest of the field. And this is bad for everybody else, because with your battling, we've said this over and over, it's when you let him out front, he's gone. Goodbye.
Yeah, Jakob Rafos, once he gets in front of the field, the former world championship driver is really hard to catch, and he really puts on display his talent here in the Jim Beaver Esports Dirtfish Subaru, pulling away from the rest of the field. So really the battle of watch here is between Cryer and our points leader, Luke Kraus, in the Fiercely Forward Subaru, Josh.
Looks like Lambert hooked the right side tires on the asphalt. He's going to lose all that ground that he had. Battling for an overall podium, we ride on board our points leader in car number 1. If all goes to plan, he should still hold the points lead, because I don't think it's too big of a swing. It's not too big of a swing. So going into Crandon for the Endurance Cup, if everything were to stop right now, he would still hold the points lead.
That's going to be a really tough battle for the rest of this season. As long as Jakob Rafos shows up to these races, he's going to be the one to beat every single week, I think, Josh. As we see Luke Kraus now battling with Bodie Cryer. Bodie's still not making it easy, maybe getting a little bit tight there off of Oval Turn 4 here at Lucas Oil Raceway, but still being able to make it in front of Luke Kraus here as we see Kraus go to the Joker. We're going to have an interesting merge here. Luke Cryer still able to stay ahead of him, Josh.
As I know we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, Ian, but we know that Bodie Cryer is stupid fast on the truck tracks. He races those trucks, at least I'd like to think so, fairly consistently. He has the pace, so like a precursor almost to the pace that Bodie Cryer will have the next couple of weeks. Let's get an update on the Sportsman race. Robichaux has got by Lambert here. What has happened to Brandon Lambert? I'll take a look on my monitor. It looked as though that... Did he get a slowdown? I'm trying to figure that out. If you can still pay attention, I don't know what happened. It looks like he just slowed down.
Yeah, and I was just about to shout out, Lambert, he's making the most of this reunion tour, so to speak, Josh. So, yeah, really interesting to see what happened to cause all those positions to be dropped. Now, Robichaux in the lead of the Sportsman race. Jakob Rafos, of course, in the lead of our championship race as we come to lap 7 here.
As Lambert just continues to fall down the order. If we take a look at the Joker rotation, he has taken his Jokers. Kraus has one left. Cryer's got both of them. What happened to Jensen as well? Looks like Jensen crashed in the 16. He crashed in the Joker. He was down the order, but all kinds of stuff happening right now. You take a look side by side, as it's a replay, it looks like of Jensen versus Larill entering the Joker. and did exactly what happened earlier.
And it's so easy to do that, Josh, because when you're coming down off of the oval section there, you actually go onto the flat part of the oval where there's no banking, and it's really easy for the car to get light there. It's hard to guide it through there, so you almost have to have the car set and committed before you go through that section between the two tire barriers.
As we take 3 laps to go for Jakob Kraus in car number 13. The Norwegian lost the points lead. He won't gain it back, but it's going to be 4 wins out of 6 races. And Luke Kraus just damage limitation in car number 1. We're right on board Martel here. This is a battle for the 6th spot between Ben Forster himself and Josh Claude. Robichaux is faster, it looks like, than Okenhout, or Okenhout had an issue. So Robichaux, I don't believe, has won a race in the Sportsman Cup yet. We'll just have to wait and see. We still ride on board Martel here.
God, it's a really tight battle here with Martel and Forster, but also a really tight battle ahead between Robichaux and Okenhout. And really, like you were alluding to earlier, this is going to be a lot of momentum for Bodie Cryer. He lost that position to our points leader, Luke Kraus, but still able to battle himself onto a podium spot. And barring any unforeseen circumstances, I think he's going to hold on to it. Going to be a lot of momentum going into Crandon, Josh.
As we take the white flag for Jakob Kraus in car number 13, trying to win his 4th race this season, ahead of Luke Kraus in car number 1, Bodie Cryer in the 05, Magnus Okenhout, Justin Robichaux the top 5. You're not missing anything for the sportsman battle. We thought Lambert had it on lock, but he has fallen almost in the clutches of Victor Aldrich. Not sure entirely what happened to the inaugural champion of this championship in car number 46. Final corner for Rafos in car number 13. He will not get the points lead back, but he will gain more momentum to take it back. He wins in Indianapolis ahead of his championship rival Luke Kraus in car number 1. So the double defending champion, damage limitation for him against Rafos. Cryer in 3rd, 4th is Okenhout, 5th Robichaux. The reason why I skipped through this, we have everyone under a blanket for 6th on back. Robichaux wins his first career sportsman victory in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Well done to the Canadian, as he immediately goes for the donuts, and it's great to see. We haven't seen donuts in quite some time, as Ben Forster joins in as well. A long-time NASA tradition / a meme, if you will, is everyone celebrating at the end of the race.
Yeah, really impressive run for Jakob Rafos, really making a statement to the rest of the drivers battling for our overall championship, coming from worst to end up first here tonight, Josh.
As I'm going to have a chat with our sportsman winner, and then we'll bring in our overall podium, but I have to find him first in the Discord here. I don't know where he is. We'll have to wait and see. So, we'll bring in our race winner, if you'd like to have a chat with him, and then we'll go from there.
Standing by with Jakob Rafos here, still muted here, but Jakob, excellent run to put you in P1. I know it was a lot of adversity that you battled here tonight, starting from the back of the pack with that qualifying penalty. What were your thoughts going into the night, knowing you had to serve that penalty? Seems to have some technical issues here with our microphone with Jakob down on the track.
Yo,
You got us, Jakob?
Yes.
All right,
Yes, I got
Jakob.
us.
Yeah, you started from the back of the pack because of the qualifying penalty. What was your strategy going into tonight's race, knowing that you had to serve that?
Yeah, it was difficult. I just tried to go into the weekend just trying to gain some points and serve the penalty, and trying to get as much points as possible to retain the championship, and it worked quite well.
So your mindset going into tonight was to gain the most points as possible, which is very understandable. But once you found yourself winning your heat race, did your strategy change at all? At that point, were you looking for the overall win?
Yeah, After the heat race, I was starting pole, so I was just trying to like drive my own race and trying to win it, you know.
Yeah, and speaking about that, once you get out in front, it seems like you're almost impossible to catch, Jakob. What is it, and what mindset do you get in once you get out in the field to stay focused and just keep those lap times up and continue pulling away from the field?
It's just setting those consistent lap times. Consistency is the best thing to win events on. That's what you need. Consistency is the key, you know.
Yeah, and we see you here on our replay pulling away from the field, and you pulled away from the field tonight for P1. Is there anybody you want to thank that helps you get it done, Jakob?
Yeah, I really wanna thank Jim Beaver Esports, General Tire, Vision Wheel, and Dirtfish, and Next Level Rig.
Well, thanks a lot, Jakob. Congratulations on P1 tonight. And Josh, I think Jakob is going to be one to watch out for, especially going into the rest of the season for that championship.
Oh, for sure. And the momentum that that he gets from this race win, certainly going into the truck tracks will help as well. But once I can learn how to speak, the man that we expect to be competitive at the truck tracks, Bodie Cryer. I'm sorry, Ian, you're going to have one more as I'm trying to finish up the spreadsheet. But Bodie Cryer, third place.
Bodie, welcome back to the commentary booth here on ASN. It's good to have you back. I think that's your first podium of the year so far. I know you hold yourself to a really high expectation, but this has got to feel good, doesn't it?
Oh, dude, yeah, this is yeah. I've had like the worst season. Like it's been it's been pretty bad, but you know, this is just this. It feels great. It feels great to be P3. I feel like I should have given you know, better fight for P2, but you know, Luke's just fast. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
And speaking of fighting, you've had to battle a lot, and I think the name of your season so far has been adversity, and I hate to bring it up again, but you have had a rough season, got caught up in a lot of incidents that weren't really your fault. How do you keep that positive mindset going forward and just keep grinding towards the front of the pack?
Oh man, I think the team I'm on helps a lot with that. I mean, the guys are they're always there to bring you up if you some craziness happens that like this season, for instance. Um, Other than that, man, you just keep pushing on, basically.
And speaking of pushing on, I know you gave up that position to Luke Kraus, and that was for P2. But did you know in the moment that you were battling for P2, P3, or were you just battling and looked up at the end of the race and saw where you were?
No, I knew where I was at. Yeah, yeah, I knew what place I was in.
And knowing what place they're in is very key. Is there anybody that is key to helping you get it done in this podium finish tonight, Bodie?
Oh, for sure. Team Watson Racing. Like the just having a spotter it's a huge deal in these races because they're so competitive and everybody's got, you know, everybody's talented here. So I mean, you need every little edge you can get. So I mean, the team they've definitely brought me up a notch, I feel. Hopefully I've done the same for them.
Yeah, and having somebody over your shoulder is vital. Congratulations on the P3 finish tonight, Bodie. Good to see you back in the commentary booth. And Josh, I don't think we're going to see Bodie out of the commentary booth for too much longer this season.
And especially with the truck tracks, like we've alluded to all evening long. As we're gonna get some final thoughts, I'm hopefully going to try and grab Roboshow, but we're gonna start out with Victor. Final thoughts on this evening's race.
Well, gosh, I mean, I don't know where to start. I know we were just talking about Bodie Carr going into next or 2 weeks from now, going into the truck tracks. I think honestly, one guy to keep your eye on is Jacob Rafos. Of course, the Jim Beaver esports teams have always been strong on the truck tracks. Of course, that's their bread and butter. Those guys. That's what Jim Beaver does outside of the sim. Is drive on those off-road truck races and all that good stuff. So that's where their bread and butter is. That's the emphasis they have when it comes to this kind of iRacing stuff. So look for Jacob Rafos to be strong there as well. Look for Bodie Cryer, of course, but also look for the rest of the field to try to make something happen as well, because it seems like every time we go to those truck tracks, it gets extremely, and I mean extremely, interesting and competitive.
Yeah, and that's good and all, Victor, but I think we're still forgetting one thing. Luke Kraus is still our points leader and is going to be our points leader going into Crandon in 2 weeks' time. And I don't think that's anybody that you need to forget about. Of course, he's the silent assassin, doesn't like to do interviews, and we respect that because he focuses on his racing. And I think that's why you're going to have to watch out for him next week at Crandon. This P2 finish is going to be really, really nice for him, but he's going to have to strike back at Jakob Rafos and let him know that he's not going to be one to like just lean over for the championship, Josh.
As unofficially, before penalties, of course, Kraus has a 9-point lead over Rafos in the championship. And I'll put it to you this way. These guys are so far ahead of everybody else. It's a 54-point gap down to Robbie Larill from Luke Kraus. Larill sits in third. We take a look at our unofficial results this evening from the Lucas Oil Raceway. Jakob Rafos in car number 13. Our victor ahead of Luke Kraus and Bodie Cryer on the podium. Magnus Okenhaug finished in fourth. I am still trying to get Justin Robichaux, but I think he's vanished off the face of the earth. He has won our sportsman subclass this evening in Lucas Oil. Ben Forster, Francois Martel, Josh Clogg, and Brandon Lambert, the inaugural champion, had a huge start to this race, but fell off kind of midway through, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened there. But then we look at Robbie Larill, Victor Aldrich, and Damian Jensen. We won't have a graphic for the remaining running order, but we do have it on here. Ryan Mowry was the best of the rest. He came home in 13th. Carson McKenna 14th. 15th, Marcos Palacio. 16th, Chris Wetz. 17th, some guy named Ian Fisher that found his way into the commentary cube. David Schofield 18th. Pellegrini 19th. Russell Peterson in 20th. Then it's Powers, Campbell, Mofta, Quinn, Watson, Aust, Lind, Abedi. And something that I didn't notice until now, the Kingsburys, 29th and 30th, Ray and Matt, from a connection issue and a crash. I haven't seen that, I don't think, ever in the championship.
Matt had some issues in the LCQ. I think in turn one there, I think he actually got together with Carson McKenna, sent both of them into the wall. I know McKenna had some handling issues, but I think Matt got the worst of that contact there, Josh.
As remember, our broadcast this evening was brought to you by Fisher Disc Golf. Be sure to use the code RALLY at checkout for 15% off your order, and along with Bolt Jet Charters. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, Victor Vallee, Ian Fisher, I'm Josh Mertz. Be sure to join us Thursday for the Penguin RC Simulation NASA Sports Car Challenge with Chad Irvine and Matt Kingsbury in the commentary cube for that one. That's going to be a great race, and I'm probably going to end up crashing like I did last week in Okayama. NASA has a week off, the week of the 18th. Next week, we come back in Crandon and Hockenheim. But like I mentioned, from all of us, Victor, Ian, Phil, even though he's locked out, lost in a hotel, this has been a presentation of NASA Rallycross on the Automotive Sports Network, and we hope to see you either Thursday or in 2 weeks. But until then, so long, everyone.